Hi, it's Aloha from Hawaii again. I'm out here for our biannual Huna intensive, and it just seemed crazy doing the Facebook Live from inside. So I'm out in the sun. So apologies if I've got some shadow because the sun's quite high today. It's around about what time do we have? Just about 10 past 11. So the sun's pretty high in the sky, which tends to show some shadows, etc. But I just wanted to be able
find the answer to that on Apple Watch.
That's my Apple Watch speaking to me now, saying it can't find the answer to what? I don't know. I don't know what question it was answering. But I just wanted you to be able to see the scene here, where we are out on the big island of Hawaii on the Kohala coast. So we're on episode 9 of the Metaprograms. This is the convincer representation filter. Now, the convincer representational filter is one of 2 metaprograms. The previous episode 8 was about how somebody knew that they had done a good job. The next 2 metaprograms, episode 9 and episode 10, are how somebody becomes convinced that somebody else has done a good job. So again, if I share the options that we've got here, so let me just change the slide so that you can see the options that we have, and I'm just going to move my this frame here so you can still see me but see the options. There we go. Then the question is, how do you know that a colleague, or how do you know that somebody else has done a good job? Do you need to see them do it? Do you need to hear about them doing a good job from somebody else? Do you need to actually physically do it with them? Or do you need to read a report about them doing the particular job? And what you'll notice is we've got there the 4 main representational systems. If the person says I need to see them do it, then obviously they're using the visual representation. If they need to hear about them doing it from somebody else, then they're using the auditory representational system. If they need to physically do it with the person, then they're using their kinesthetic representational system. And if they need to read a report about somebody's performance, then they're using the auditory digital or the AD representational system, which isn't sensory based. It's very logical, rational, and sensible based. So let's then talk about where we go with the information that we've got from that. If we've got somebody who uses a visual representational system, and for instance we're in a situation where we want to influence them or to sell to them, then these people need pictures. They need to see a demonstration. They need to see a graphic. They need to see a brochure. If we've got somebody who is more convinced by the auditory representational system, then these are the people that will respond well to what you tell them, but also what other people have said about you. So this is where client testimonials will work well to convince the person that what you are wanting to influence them around, what you wanting to sell to them, is the right decision for them. If they're using kinesthetic, as in they need to do it with you, this is where the person will need an experience. So a demo here. And if you can actually set up the demo, let's say you were selling an online program or a software package, software system, this would be where if you did a demo and actually allowed them hands-on so that they can use it with you, you can guide them through the process and they can use it with you, then that's going to convince them that it's the thing that they want to go for. Quite often on my NLP trainings, I say to people, the way to sell NLP is by doing NLP. So, if you're wanting to sell something that's very conceptual, like neurolinguistic programming, or you're wanting to sell something very conceptual, like coaching, to somebody that had a kinesthetic convincer representational filter, then the absolute best way of doing that with them is to actually give them an experience of an NLP technique. So, my chosen ones are using the keys to an achievable outcome questions on a goal the person has that is eluding them. It's a goal that they've been working on for a while and they're not achieving it. What we know from an NLP point of view there is that it's not a well-formed outcome, and we know that once we take them through the keys to achievable outcome questions, it will, inside of them, be more achievable, and they'll have an experience of that, kinesthetic experience of that, and therefore be convinced. Another great one is exactly what we're doing in this Metaprogram series. Is I elicit their Metaprograms rapid fire, and then unpack what I've discovered from that, telling them, how they'll experience certain situations in their business, in their life, what kind of situations they'll find challenging. And, we already know that with the Metaprograms, we'll be able to give people feedback that they know is absolutely true for them, but they hadn't even realized it themselves, which is one of the great things about Metaprograms. In the Master Practitioner training, I teach people how to elicit Metaprograms rapid fire, where you can elicit all the Metaprograms, all 19, 20 Metaprograms, in 10 minutes or less. And then unpack it. You could unpack it for maybe an hour, giving them some really valuable feedback. For somebody who's got a kinesthetic convincer representational filter, that's really going to convince them. It's going to give them a great experience. If the person has a more auditory digital or AD convincer representational filter, then case studies is going to be a great thing to be able to give them, something for them to read. A case study that convinces them in a very logical, rational, sensible way that what you are influencing them around, the decision that you're influencing them around, or a product or service that you wanted to sell to them, is the right thing for them to do. So there we go. That's episode 9. Episode 10, I will be back in London. So that's where episode 10 will be from. It's the second of the Convincer Metaprograms. This is the Convincer Demonstration Metaprogram, which is a really valuable one to know when we're influencing people, when we're selling to people, but also a very, very valuable metaprogram to know when we're coaching people and when we're doing change work or therapy with people, because it's vital that those people, before they leave our office, when we've been coaching them, or before they leave our therapy room, that they are absolutely convinced that the coaching or the therapy has worked, and that they absolutely are convinced that they got the result that they want. So that's next week's episode 10, Convincer Demonstration Filter. Have a great week, and I look forward to seeing you from London, probably back again on Thursday night at 1900 GMT or UTC, wherever you are in the world. Have a fantastic time. Great to, thanks for joining me, and I'll see you again soon.